We can't breathe. We can't breathe until everyone can breathe. Welcome to the worship service of the Unity Temple Unitarian Universalist Congregation. I'm so glad you're tuning in with us this first Sunday of June. It's good to come together, especially as our wider community grapples with the challenges of unveiling racism, enormous peaceful protests, opportunists looting, a militarized police response, and widespread unemployment during this COVID-19 pandemic. Our volunteer recognition is postponed, for this is a time for us to open ourselves and to open our hearts to the deep pain of our African American neighbors, to listen, and for us, non-Black people, to let them know we hear them, we see them, that we have their back. It is a time for those of us who are white to notice where we are uncomfortable and recognize that our comfort too often derives from ongoing exploitation and diminishment of people of color. Would you take a deep breath with me? And another. We can't breathe freely until we all can breathe freely.
Spirits made a place for you where everything is new. Spirits made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made a place for you where everything is new. Grace has made a place for you where everything is new. Grace has made a place for you where everything is new. Love has made, spirits made, grace has made a place for you where everything is new.
Good morning. My name is Terry Powell, and I'm a member of the Board of Trustees at Unity Temple. It is my pleasure to welcome all of you to our virtual service this morning. If you're new to the congregation, you can contact Membership Director Tina Lewis for more information about us. She can be reached at tlewis@unitytemple.org. Following the service, please join us for our virtual coffee hour. The link for Zoom is located in your email. Our values are connection, transformation, justice, and acceptance. Our mission is welcoming all, inspiring compassion, nurturing wonder, and serving community. For more information about us, please look at our website at unitytemple.org. Next week, as part of our outreach, the Board of Trustees members will meet with members of the congregation for a conversation. It's called Reflecting with the Board. You have two options, Sunday afternoon at 1 or Monday evening at 7. Watch for details in next week's e-beacon. Finally, I hope that today's service gives you healing, courage, and inspiration for the coming week. Have a great day, and thank you for being here.
Now we invite you to light your chalice. We are Unitarian Universalists. We are the church of the open minds, the loving hearts, and the helping hands. We take care of planet Earth and each other.
We gather at a historic time in our nation's shared life. How we respond here and now shall make a difference for generations to come. It is a scary time. Our society faces a national reckoning. May we as a people come together and change the way we treat one another so that we can all say without reservation, Black Lives Matter. Whoever you are, wherever you are on your life journey, you are welcome here. May we open our hearts, our minds, our souls as we gather for worship on this glorious day.
Love is the doctrine of this congregation. The quest for truth is its sacrament, and service is its prayer. To dwell together in peace, to seek knowledge and freedom, to serve humanity and fellowship, to the end that all souls shall grow into harmony with the divine. Thus do we covenant with each other and with God.
Come and join me in singing hymn number 131, Love Will Guide Us.
Love will guide us, peace has tried us, hope inside us will lead the way, and the road from greed to giving. Love will guide us through the hard night. If you cannot sing like angels, if you cannot speak before thousands, you can give from deep within you. You can change the world with your love. Love will guide us. Peace has tried us. Hope inside us will lead the way. On the road from greed to giving, you can change the world with your love.
Hi, friends. I have been missing you so very much this week, and I think it's because it's been a hard week, and so we're gonna have to talk about some hard, sad things. As maybe you heard, On Monday, May 25th, a black man named George Floyd was killed by a white police officer in Minneapolis. And of course, lots of people who knew George were very sad and very angry. And lots of other people, when they heard that story, were also very sad and very angry. They were sad and angry because George should not have died and he should not have been killed by a police officer. And they're sad and angry because many Black people have been killed and not treated fairly by the police. We know that police should treat everyone equally, but we can see that that doesn't always happen. And lots of people want to change this. They want to make things better and fairer, and so people started protesting. They started marching in the streets in Minneapolis, and then the word and the story spread, and now people are protesting all over the world, saying that things have to change. I have a book that I want to share with you today called Not My Idea by Anastasia Higginbotham. And it's a book about whiteness. It's to help us talk about race and skin color. So here it is, Not My Idea. When grown-ups try to hide scary things from kids, oh no, not again. What? Mom, what not again? It's usually because they are scared too. Who is that with their hands up? Why is that policeman screaming at him? Bang, bang, bang. They want to bury the truth. You don't need to worry about this, says the grown-up. You're safe, understand? The little girl says. She's thinking, no. Our family is kind to everyone. We don't see color. Deep down, we all know color matters. Skin color makes a difference in how the world sees you and in how you see the world. I want to bring my aunt a gift. This will only take a minute. Going into a store. It makes a difference in how much trouble seems to find you or let you be. In stores, in cars, on sidewalks, at school, your skin color affects the most ordinary daily experiences, including which neighborhoods welcome you. So relieved you got here safely. Why wouldn't we? The protests. They're blocking the road. They demand an end to killings. Marchers walk past victims. A video caught a bystander. Things that might be on the TV today. You may get the message that racism is happening only to Black and brown people. Racism is a white person's problem, and we are all caught up in it. I can't watch the news. That police officer was just doing his job. Mostly by refusing to look at it. Come away from the TV now. You can face this. Understanding the truth takes courage, especially a painful truth about your own people and your own family. Are you all right? The grown-up says. Even people you love may behave in ways that show they think they are the good ones. Racism was not your idea. You don't need to defend it. You can bring your curiosity to learn about it and see what is true. Here's a book called Our Shared History. In the United States of America, white people have committed outrageous crimes against Black people for 400 years. All along, every step of the way, people who love justice and love each other have been fighting back. Many white people did things they never should have done. Denied opportunity, denied housing, denied voting rights. Many other white people failed to see the problem with this. Exploited the love and labor of Black women. These choices put wealth and power into white hands, homes, and neighborhoods. Some white people joined the leaders of Black liberation, the Grimke sisters, Julian Bond, Nina Simone, John Lewis, Colin Kaepernick. Racism is still happening. It keeps changing and keeps being the same. And yet, just being here, alive in this moment, you have a chance to care about this. to connect. But connecting means opening. And opening sometimes feels like breaking. Mom, I don't feel good. Uh-oh, should I pull over? I need to know what's going on. What are you talking about? Why didn't anyone teach me real history? I do see color. I see yours and mine and everybody's. You can't see what's right in front of me. You can't hide what's right in front of me. Go with your instincts on this one. Racial justice is possible, but only if we're honest with each other and with ourselves. I see a playground. Want to get some air? Yes. Your history is not all written yet. What do you want it to say? The end. But it's not really the end. It is the beginning, because we know as Unitarian Universalists that we can make a difference. We can grow justice inside ourselves like a bean sprout in a milk carton. A strong internal sense of justice will not fail you, even when a lack of the justice in the world does. So, innocence is overrated, knowledge is power. Get some, grow wise, and make history. I know that you can bring more love and justice into the world. So go ahead and do it.
Each week we hold a space for holding each other in our hearts and gathering the prayers of the people. Who are you holding in your heart this week? What prayers are you carrying? You may share them in the live chat if you wish, and I will share what people have communicated with me this past week. John Tandrich has moved into the Oak Park Arms. When the Oak Park Arms reopens to visitors, he welcomes frequent visitors. Until then, he welcomes phone calls as he adjusts to his new surroundings, where there is much less contact with people than in the hospital. Val Igarashi is moving out of the Oak Park Arms and into an apartment with friends in Glenview. She will continue to join us in our online gatherings and expresses gratitude for the support that she has received, especially from Pastoral Associate Jay Cohen. Dawn Owens asks that her mother, Nancy Stewart, be remembered today. She passed away 10 years ago this week. Locally, the following people were reported killed between the days May 29th and June 4th. Keishanae Bolden, age 18, Antoine Nisha Bratcher, 19, Angelo Bronson, 36, Andrew Cruz, 34, Lazara Daniels, 18, Fernando de Leon, 34, Robert English, 24, Darius Ferguson, 26, Deontay Fleming, 23, Tommy Gatewood, 27, David Green, 39, Ricky Hewlett, 36, Jaleel Jackson, 28, Darius Jelks, 31, Maurice Jelks, 39, Danielle Jones, 30, Gregory Lewis, 21, Kenneth McKinney, 53, Bernardino Mercado, 26, Farish Michael, 28, Jaquan Newman, 26, Ramiro Reyes Hernandez, 37, Francisco Romero, 18, Tajane Samuels, 19, Raphael Simmons, 31, Joseph Smith, 26, Shannon Stewart, 24, John Tiggs, 32, Martell White, 33. May we keep their families and others touched by violence in our prayers. May we also pray for the perpetrators and the impact the violence has on their lives as well. The anonymous volunteer that pulls this list together acknowledges that there have been 152, quote, exceptional deaths. That is, deaths, homicides, that there were no leads or arrests. this past year. I've heard from so many of you who are reeling with anguish about what's happened in the past couple weeks. I'm holding all of you in my heart. I'm aware that there are many people who have said things wiser than I will, and I urge you to follow the posts of Black leaders, both locally and nationally, and listen closely to the experiences. Become more acquainted with the history of racism on the local level. Some of you have expressed great dismay toward the property destruction of the last week. Even more of you have expressed anger at the aggressive and militarized response. And so many of you have expressed deep, deep anguish about the ongoing oppression of people of color, especially Black and brown people. Reverend Ira Ackery and Reverend Marshall Hatch ask for prayers for the many people going hungry on the west side of Chicago because of the destruction of their grocery stores. They also ask for financial support for their efforts to feed those most vulnerable. Such information will be forthcoming. May we turn our hearts to prayer and reflection. O Spirit of life, source of all love, eternal mystery of God within, among, and beyond us, give us strength and courage to help carry the burden that comes with unveiling the reality of racism deep within our culture. Help us put into perspective the civil unrest here in the Chicago area, in Minneapolis, and in cities all over the country, while millions protest peacefully. Move us out of our silences to scale back the ever-increasingly aggressive police tactics that have terrorized Black people for decades, and call for reforms so that police officers may return to being peace officers. Call us to compassion, to support those directly affected by the property destruction, and those who have been directly affected by the COVID-19 crisis. Turn us to what is truly important as unemployment approaches 20% in our country. Help us identify true wealth, the relationships and personal dignity from which we lead our lives, and lead us to beckon one another to living in the light of love. O Spirit of life, as many people of color question whether there's a reason to hope, move us all to action, compassion, and advocacy for all who have known deep anguish, disrespect, and poor treatment simply because of the color of their skin. For those of us who are white, help us identify the work we have to do, the work within our own hearts, within our congregation, within our community, within our nation. We cannot ignore the reality that police and ordinary people continue to demonstrate through actions that Black lives don't really matter. If they do, then why do the events of the last couple of weeks keep happening? O Spirit of life, provide us all strength and courage to act, to refuse to be silent in the face of clear injustice. And lastly, O God, ground us in love. Remind us to become ever more beautiful instruments of love and justice. For justice is what love looks like in public. Oh God, give us the strength to come together with others. And give us the joy and the connection that nourishes us to stay the journey. Blessed be. Amen.
Tlewis.
Good morning. My name is Marcia Borders. I've been a member of Unity Temple for 9 years. During that time, I've served on a number of committees. Most recently, I've served on the membership committee, and currently I'm serving as a counter, and I'm serving on the development committee, which is responsible for the annual fund drive. I'm also serving as a member of the investment and finance committee. And in addition, I've participated in a number of activities of the Faith and Action Committee of the Congregation. You know, I joined Unity Temple because of the values and because of the principles of the Unitarian Universalist faith. But today, I come to you with a saddened heart due to the awful killing of George Floyd. I'm both saddened and hurt and, quite frankly, angry. But, you know, I'm also totally exhausted. I'm tired of all these senseless killings. You know, I'm tired of living in an America where there seems to be a two-tiered system. One that privileges some in our criminal justice system and disenfranchises others. A system that invests in some communities and people and disinvests in others. A system that provides high-quality health care for many, but leaves others totally out. A system in which we provide good basic education in many communities, but leave other communities totally unresourced. You know, I'm really tired of a system that tends to value the interests of the individual over that of the common good. You know, we talk about the American dream and the opportunities that it affords everyone. If you just work hard and keep your nose to the grindstone, you get ahead. Well, that might be true for white Americans, but often that's not the case for people of color. Even though we work hard, we often pay our dues. We educate ourselves. We become doctors, lawyers. You know, we come from good families. We raise good families. But often, all of that is negated by many simply because we are a person of color. You know, I'm really tired of living and being seen as a second-class citizen. I'm tired of the failed promises and the failed treaties that have gone before. You know, after we were freed from slavery, each person was guaranteed 40 acres of land and a mule. Well, that was provided, but in the same breath, it was taken away. And the same for our Native American populations. They were promised certain lands that were supposed to be enshrined in treaty arrangements, and many of those treaties were never kept. And in fact, over the years, our federal government has come in to seize more of tribal lands and committed other atrocities against our First Nations. And in the early 20th century, when rail was being developed here in the United States on the West Coast, Asians came in to assist with the construction. Well, they brought their families, set up shop, and often became citizens. Well, after a while, they were seen as a threat to America. Of course, our borders were closed, and many of the people that had gotten citizenship prior had that citizenship totally revoked, and they were asked to leave the country. You know, with the murder of George Floyd and all of the events that I've talked about before, you know, as a person of color, I'm really feeling saddened and disenfranchised. But I think there is still hope. And I would ask all of the white people that are currently listening on the call, if they would consider 3 things that I think that would help and continue in the healing. First, I would ask that you make good on your promises. And second, I would ask that you take the time to educate yourself on the struggles of the people that have really made America what it is today. I think if you take the time to really investigate these histories, you'll come up with a whole new appreciation for American history. And third, I would ask that you commit to dismantling institutional racism. I think that would serve us all. Thank you very much.
Good morning. Let me start by saying I appreciate Unity Temple and Reverend Taylor asking me to speak today. This is a daunting task for me during this important time. I appreciate the chance to share my thoughts and feelings with you, and I only do this because as UUs, it is part of the fabric of our faith, fighting for change and working for justice. These, of course, are my personal views and direct exposure of my heart. When you ask me how I am not fine. Black people must continue to go about our lives while we hear the rhetoric and platitudes, making dinner, tending our children, going to work while in a heightened state of trauma. I come from a place of privilege within the Black community with economic stability and education. Throughout my life, I've been sort of a chameleon because I understand and have understood the social norms that are expected from me by white people. Though Black, I'm not too Black for many liberal areas, and for the most part, I've enjoyed much of America's promises. My light-skinnedness has afforded me other benefits among my own race, but that's a talk for another day. Frankly, for many other Indigenous Black people, there are 2 Americas. This is why we say Black Lives Matter. Everyone who is not Black is taught to be anti-Black. Let me say that again. America teaches anti-Blackness. Anti-Blackness infiltrates every structure and system in America. As liberals, many of you know about these. Children in our backyards of the West and South Side of Chicago face huge disparities in everything from staffing to basic technology. My first years of teaching in Chicago included tears more often than not. At my first school in Chicago, the principal had to choose if she wanted books or toilet paper. She chose books. Yes, children go to school in places where they don't have toilet paper. The school to prison pipeline works as intended as Black boys and girls are suspended. A path of criminalization is created with prisons jammed with Black and brown people. Even with the Fair Housing Act, there are widespread reports of housing discrimination. People who could benefit from healthy food suffer in areas of food deserts with no choices but cheap, toxic food. One has to simply pick up a newspaper to see how Black and brown communities have fared during COVID-19. Black trans women have the highest rate of violence in America. They disappear with unsolved murders and very little mention by the press. My own family has stories of run-ins with the police and early memories of the N-word being hurled at them. As a mother of a 10-year-old, I realize he will go from cute and funny to threatening in the next few years. Ladies will clutch their purses when they see him, and people will call the police if he's in the park too late, or if he's on the corner in a group of friends, or if he wears a hoodie, etc., etc., etc. America has taught me to prepare for his questioning by the police and possibly worse. Practicing what to do and say when he's stopped by the police could mean life and death for him. When I think about the worst, I feel sick and angry and hopeless and traumatized and hurt. Do not be shocked by what is going on. George Floyd's killing was not an isolated incident. It was another modern-day lynching. Do not say our system is broken. Understand it is not. It works as intended for those, and it works for those who it was intended for. The anger is boiling over, and looting and vandalism is a result of that. Many lives have been lost, and property is not more valuable than people's lives. My friend Keena Collins, a local community organizer, helped me order my thoughts for you on what we can do and what we should continue to do, all of us. Arrest the police. We ask that those who serve and protect do just that, and if not, they are charged and sentenced appropriately. Enforce the laws equitably. Policing impacts everyone, and it's your tax dollars that pays their salaries and for their lawsuits. There's a movement in Oak Park to defund the police and invest in the marginalized population with things like reproductive freedom and health screenings. Call your officials. Ask where they stand and ask them to invest in our communities. Demand more from your Oak Park president. Question them. Fund the movement. Boost organizations that serve and are run by Black and brown people, including sexual assault awareness and food insecurity, and support organizations like Suburban Unity Alliance. Support businesses run by people of color like Live Cafe and Serenity. It's not a person of color's job to educate you. You can do that by Googling reading lists, TED Talks, and learning the history that you didn't learn in school. Check out Book Table's display, and Netflix has an amazing list of documentaries floating around. Lastly, and most importantly, shift the culture around you. You can totally do this. Talk about politics with your friends, have conversations at the dinner table with your kids or your uncle from a red state, hold people accountable, get uncomfortable, do not be flustered, do not say things like, I'm not racist, I don't see color. You must see people of color and attend to their needs. This is our fight together. People of color have tried to talk, but those who need to listen do not hear what we have been saying. Use your own privilege. It's your turn. We're counting on you. Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Michael Weeks, and at this very second, my family's pretty surprised to see me on screen talking to you all right now. They're not aware that Reverend Allen called earlier this week and wanted me to reflect with everyone regarding the recent events surrounding George Floyd and Christian Cooper, and what I would like the wider white community to know. But before I get into that, I figured for those of you who don't know who I am, some basic facts. To some people, I'm in the choir. I sing in the choir. I also sing in Unity Temple Singers, and I'm the current president. To others, I'm a member of the sound team, and I help produce audio for our services and for some events that are not sponsored by the church. To some people, I'm simply a teammate, and I play softball. One of my main positions is shortstop. To some, I'm a coworker, and I work for the largest production company in the event industry as a production manager. And one of my main events that I manage is UTUUC. That's a pretty big accomplishment. To some people, I'm simply known as Dad. I have a family, I'm married, have 2 wonderful kids, a dog named Jarvis, and a cat named Jinx, and I live in Brookfield. But last week's events were just another reminder that if I walk into the wrong neighborhood, or if I encounter the wrong white people at the wrong time, I don't come home. And that's just a terrifying feeling that's in the back of my head every single time I leave this house. Especially after last week. Now, in a word, how do I feel? Drained. Just simply drained. I am sick and tired of dealing with racism in this country. But one of the things that these events have shown me is, it's interesting. Black people have been fighting this problem for hundreds of years. We've marched. That hasn't worked. Some strides have been made, but the problems still exist. We peacefully protest. We wear shirts with slogans on it. No, you can't do that. We use status and try to bring awareness to a message. Can't do that either. Whether it's the Oscars or if it's at a sporting event. Nope, can't do that either. We consult with people that are actually veterans. Come up with something that doesn't offend anybody, meaning take a knee. No, you can't do that either. Now you're disrespecting the flag. That's not good enough. So you get to a point where, what other options do you have? And people are just tired. Just tired. And one of the things that I discovered is that this problem, since it was created by white people, and black people have been able to solve it wholeheartedly, it will only go away when good white people stand up and say, enough. I'll repeat that. This problem will go away when good white people stand up and say, enough. The only reason why this problem continues to exist is because white people continue to benefit from it. So, what can we do to fix it? Now, I'm not asking you to do anything crazy, although I know some of you are capable of crazy. Simple things that will help the problem go away is acknowledgement. Yes, I'm different from you, but don't treat me any different than you would your family or your friends. Notice the fact that, yes, I'm a black man. Don't say things like, I see no color. That doesn't help. Don't dismiss the fact that I'm different. Acknowledge the fact that I'm different, but then treat me like you would anybody else. You do that, and you might just make a new friend. And that's when real change actually happens, when people actually enter into a dialogue and learn about each other, versus dividing people up and continually fighting. Change happens when people come together and engage one another. And if we do that, maybe finally, this will go away. We can come together as one nation, one people. So what are you going to do? It's up to you. And if you need someone to help, I got your back.
Each week we give away our offering. This week it goes to Hôpital Albert Schweitzer, a hospital in Haiti serving extremely vulnerable people, people who have survived epidemics and natural disasters. May what you give bring you joy.
trumpet shall resound, showers of love shall descend. Even so, it is well with my soul. It is well with my soul. It is well, it is well with my soul.
May we be blessed as we open our hearts to one another, and especially to those who have long carried the burden of pain and anguish that people of color have experienced and continue to experience in this country. May we turn to the source of our love, not so much for hope, but for courage. Courage to carry on with deep compassion and greater persistence in making connections and organizing and working for meaningful change. May each of us know liberation when we all can be able to say with deep love, Black lives matter. Blessed be. Amen.
I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. No matter where you go, no matter where you've been, you'll never walk alone. I feel you deep within. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I'll walk the path with you. Go slow, dear one, don't hurry. I'll go just as you need to go. There is no need to worry. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you in love. I am sending you light to heal you, to hold you. I am sending you light to hold you